Everybody, it's Miss Steely, and today we are going to work on our 4th week packet. And on this video, we are going to discuss the first 3 assignments: repetition sheet from the poetry packet, rhyming word sheet from the poetry packet, and characteristics of poetry review sheet from this packet. So you may have noticed that this top sheet is the same as last week. And before we get started, you may want to have a few highlighters and a pencil. I'm going to be using my marker so you can see my writing a little bit better. So we're going to talk about characteristics of poetry. So a few of the characteristics we talked about last week were rhythm and beats. We also talked about lines, stanzas, and repetition. So this week we're going to reread this packet cover sheet, and we're going to talk about 2 specific parts of our characteristics of poetry. We're specifically going to re-hit lines and repetition. So a poem describes things, shares a feeling, and tells a story. A poem has a rhythm or a pattern of beats like a song. A poem is made up of lines. Most poems also have larger parts called stanzas. The word in a poem may even make a shape. Repetition is when words or lines repeat. So let's go back to the word lines. And as you can see, I've highlighted mine because that's going to be an important word for us today. So let's go back and count the lines in our poem this week. So remember, the poem is April Rain Song. I'm going to start by reading the poem, and then we will go back and discuss the lines and the repetition. So, April Rain Song. Let the rain kiss you. Let the rain beat upon your head with silver liquid drops. Let the rain sing you a lullaby. The rain makes still pools on the sidewalk. The rain makes running pools in the gutter. The rain plays a little sleep song on our roof at night. And I love the rain. So we're going to go back and we're going to count the lines on this. Some of us had stanzas and lines confused. Remember, a stanza is kind of like the paragraph. So in this particular poem, there were 3 paragraphs or 3 stanzas. And that's what we have indicated here with the arrows. But our lines end with punctuation on this poem. So we're going to number the first one as line 1. This will be line 2. This will be line 3. So if you're following along, you should have your lines numbered as well. We're going to continue and we're going to number the next couple lines of our poem. Line 4, line 5, line 6, and line 7. You'll notice that the title does not get counted as a line. Some of us tried to count that last week. So please don't make that mistake. The other thing some people tried to count was our by poem, our byline. This we do not count as lines in our poem. That simply tells us who it was written by. So our poem, April Song, has how many lines? 7. Now, what does the word repetition mean? Think about it. If we go back up here and we reread our sentence, it's going to give us a clue. Repetition is when words or lines repeat. So sometimes we can have one word that repeats, or we can have more than one word that repeats. So let's take a real quick look at our repetition for April Rain Song. Do you see anything that repeats? maybe a single word or a group of words. I'm going to choose a separate color to highlight. But I see one right off the bat. I see "Let the Rain." It comes at the very beginning of my poem, and it comes at the very beginning of every line. Let the rain, let the rain. I'm going to go ahead and highlight those repeated lines. Now, if we get into stanza 2, does our repetition stay the same? Do you see the words "let the rain"? I don't. I'm going to change my colors because this is a different repetition. So I do see something that repeats itself. I see "the rain makes." And guess what? At the beginning of line 5, I also see "the rain makes." And that's all for the repetition for that stanza. All right, we're going to go ahead and turn the page, and we're going to talk about a few things on the next page. Keep your highlighters and your writing utensil handy. All right, so on this page, we're going to talk about repetition. Many poems have words, lines, or entire stanzas that repeat. Read the following poem and answer the questions. Our poem is "Rime of the Ancient Mariner" by Coleridge. I looked upon the rotting sea, I drew my eyes away. I looked upon the rotting deck, and there the dead men lay. So, which two lines of the poem have words that repeat? So, we're going to use a test-taking strategy on this one. I'm going to choose one of my highlighters, and I'm going to go to lines 1 and 2 and see if I can find anything that repeats. So, line 1, I looked upon the rotting sea and drew my eyes away. Do you see anything that repeats? I don't. So what do we do as a test-taking strategy? We either put an X by it or we cross it out, don't we? So I'm going to go ahead and mark my answer selection. That tells me I've already looked at that and I've checked my work. Now, for B, I'm going to look at lines 1 and 3. So I'm going to change my colors so that you can see which lines I'm looking at. So line 1 is going to be orange, and line 3 is going to be orange as well. So I looked upon the rotting sea. I looked upon the rotting deck. Do you see words that repeat? I see some words that repeat. I see I looked upon. So in my class, we've been putting a little happy face or a little star because we like that answer. That one kind of fits. But in my class, we were also working on checking every answer selection. I know some of us want to go ahead and skip to the part where we circle that for the correct answer. But sometimes they put in those tricky ones, and we need to check lines 1 and 4 and see if answer selection C might be a good fit as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get my blue marker out. You can use any color. But I'm going to see if lines 1 and 4 might possibly have something that repeats. So here we go. I'm going to put blue up on line 1 and blue down here on line 4. Alright, it says, I looked upon the rotting sea, and there the dead men lay. Do you see anything in those two lines that repeat? I don't. So again, I'm going to mark out my answer selection. And guess what? Our answer choice of B was correct. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to go ahead and circle answer B. All right. Our next one, we have to find 3 different words or patterns of words that repeat. So the first thing I'm going to do is read our poem. And then I'm going to use 3 different colors to look for patterns that repeat. So the poem is called Weather, Weather. Weather, weather, what will it be today? Will it rain? Will it shine? Will it blow? Will it snow? Weather, weather, what will it be today? So the first thing I notice is the title of the poem matches the first line, but that first line is also repeated down here towards the end of our poem. So to me, that seems like a good place to start in highlighting repeated parts of our poem. Do you see another part that repeats? I see in line 2 something that will repeat on the very last line of the poem. Do you see what I see? What will it be today? And what will it be today? Our second line and our last line repeat. I'm going to highlight those in yellow. Remember, we are looking for 3 different things that are going to repeat, because we are going to write those down in the lines over here on this side. So do you see something else that repeats? I will let you go ahead and grab a different color highlighter and either highlight the third pattern that you see. When you've completed that, we're going to copy the repeated portions of our poem on these lines. So what did we highlight in blue? We highlighted weather, weather. What did we highlight in yellow? We're going to write that below it. Now, you should have found the third item that repeats, and you can write that on the very last line. Remember, you are only highlighting the portion of the line that repeats. Not every word is repeated on those lines. I'll give you a minute to do that part on your own. As you finish that part, we're going to move on to rhyming words. A rhyme is when words have the same ending sound. The endings don't always have to be spelled the same. So, a lot of us are going to come up with cat and hat. We could probably make a long list of words that rhyme with that. We could put rat, that, mat, okay? So we have a bunch of words that will all end with the same spellings. But like it was saying, some words don't have to be spelled the same to still rhyme. So their example for you is going to be blue and shoe. It makes the ooh sound. But there's more than one way to spell ooh, isn't there? We've worked on that in phonics. So this one will be a little bit tricky because you can't always look at the endings of the words. You're going to have to listen for the ending sounds as well. First, I'm going to start by reading the poem. Marvin made a model ship. Marvin made a model ship of playing cards and glue. It was a mighty pirate ship when Marvin was all through. But getting up one early morn, he found his ship a wreck. His brother Johnny smashed it flat when Dad called, "Hit the deck!" That was a cute poem, wasn't it? Alright, so we have a few things we need to look at. Okay, so the first question is, which end word rhymes with the word glue? We're going to use our test-taking strategies on this portion as well. So, glue. Remember, we're going to have to listen to some ending sounds, but we can also check to see if they're spelled the same. So, let's first check for our spelling. This word ends with what letters? UE. Do you see any letters or any of the answer selections that end with UE? I don't either. So guess what that means? We're going to have to do a listening. So Miss Steely is going to read to you your answer selection. And remember, we're listening for something that rhymes with glue. So, does ship rhyme with glue? Ship, glue. If you've already crossed out this, you already have that correct. They do not rhyme. How about mourn and glue? No. Have you crossed that one out as well? You're right. But let's check to make sure that C is the correct answer selection. Through and glue. Through and glue. Remember, O-U-G-H is called what? It's a quadrigraph, isn't it? So our quadrigraph, O-U-G-H, says ooh sometimes, doesn't it? Alright, so if you've circled answer selection C, you are correct. Now, I'm going to read you the next one, and I'd like you to try it on your own. Which end word rhymes with the word wreck? Go ahead and try to solve that one on your own. I will read the answer selections for you. A, deck. B, ship. C, glue. Alright, have you figured it out? I went ahead and I jumped to spelling selections. Do you see how the ending is written? I was looking for E-C-K. Did you look for E-C-K? If you saw E-C-K in deck, you were correct. If you have an answer selection of A circled, good job. Alright, now on this next portion, you're going to cross out words in each row that do not rhyme. So remember, we're looking for two things. Ending sounds that are the same, or if they sound the same. So I will read the list of words for you, and I would like you to listen and go ahead and cross out the words in each row that do not rhyme. Care, cat, hair, and there. Which word does not rhyme? If you crossed out the word cat, you were correct. Now, you're going to do two on your very own. I will read those for you now. Were, cut, shut, nut. I'll give you a moment to do that. Remember, you're crossing it out if it does not rhyme. Number 3. Skate, alike, bait, late. That one got a little trickier, didn't it? You might have to cross out more than one word, and that's okay. Number 4. Play, they, train, obey. Number 5. Through, crew, true, great. As you complete these 3 pages of the packet, remember all 3 of these pages need to have a photograph and sent to your either Miss Killingsworth or myself. All right, that's it for these 3 pages, and we'll see you soon. Bye, guys.